Are you totally different when it comes to sex and copulation? Have you judged yourself out of receiving pleasure? Have you judged yourself into receiving pleasure in certain ways and excluded other ways? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here's the host of The Pleasure Zone, pleasure diva and body whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Good evening and welcome, my sweet pleasure seekers, to The Pleasure Zone. I'm so grateful for all of you listening. It's just such an inspiration to keep on creating shows. And I know there are listeners out there that listen to my show, that get inspired, that utilize the tools that I offer on this program. And if you are brand new to this program, welcome to a whole bunch of new tools. So it's a lot of fun to offer tools and tips on this show. And sometimes I offer tools and tips. Sometimes I offer a little history lesson. Sometimes a little anthropology lesson. Sometimes I just go on a rant. Today I actually wrote my own tips and tools on this, and it's going to be an article on the station. So don't make notes. Don't worry about that. But please do check out Inspired Choices Network and look for my article. It'll be up in a few days. So look for that, and you'll be able to just follow the notes, so you don't even have to take any notes for this one. I might just get smart like that in future and make notes for you guys all the time, because I'm a bit of a note-taking freak, let's face it. If you know me, you know I take notes. I got notes, like everywhere, all over the place, for everything. So I actually was inspired to create this show because I had a visitor last week in my home, and she's fairly young, fairly young. She's in her 20s, and we actually had a little conversation about how do you actually add sex toys to your life, your sex life, without having the person feel like it's like a negative thing, or like you're saying their sex isn't good enough, but really you're just looking for exploration and play. So have you been considering adding toys to your sex life, but you just weren't sure how? And have you made your sex and sex life so serious, but now you're actually ready to have more play? Because play is actually possible. What a concept, what a novel concept, that sex can be fun, and sex can be playful, and sex can have all these different aspects to it that don't have to be so daunting and so serious. So what would adding sex toys to your sex play create? Have you explored self-pleasure with sex toys at all? Because I have. Maybe you have too. Or have you explored mutual pleasure with sex toys, which can be a lot of fun too? But how do you get going with that, right? So I will be giving you, there's at least 10 tips and tools that I've written down for you, and they will be available as an article on Inspired Choices Network. So if you'd like to know more about this, I'm really excited to share it with you. And also, for those of you who don't know, I offer a lot of things in my life, and one of them is body work, energy work. I do something called radionics, and I also do like one-on-one coaching, and I offer classes as well. And keep an eye out for classes that I have coming this fall. I do still have on the roster and in my heart, I have a class for hedonism for couples, hedonism for individuals. That is just in the works, in the making, as so many other aspects of my life are taking off. I'm looking at the timing of those amazingly delicious classes that are still asking to be birthed. So please keep your attention aware of that. And I do have a naughty list you can be added to as well. So I will add the link to the naughty list, that you can join my naughty list and get all kinds of interesting tips and tools on there as well. You can join my naughty list, and I'll send out emails maybe once a month. I don't send it a lot, but I'll let you know when there's things going on, and also information that just sparks me and interests me. As it goes, I may do more regular ones, but for now it'll be about once a month. And there will be a link in the article that I'll be writing on the at least 10 tips and tools for adding toys to your sex play. And so check on the link, click on that, add yourself to the naughty list. Just know you are not going to be bombarded by emails, just a lot of fun stuff. And you'll have an option as well, whether you just like tips and tools or classes or both. So I'm pretty excited to share some information with you guys today. I'm always looking to what other ways can I share love and joy and sexiness and happiness and body joy and pleasure, because I'm a bit of a pleasure seeker. And if you're listening, I bet you are too, because guess what? That's usually the way it rocks and rolls. So I thought, today as I was getting ready to get on the show, I thought I would start the show off, but I might do it next week in a totally different way. I know, because I always start the show off in almost exactly the same way with talking to my pleasure seekers, but I just had something funny, but I didn't want to throw you guys off because this is like a really intense conversation to talk about. Sometimes it can be intense. So one of the things I'd like you to just keep in mind is, if you have some good communication and conversation in your life and in your relationship, especially in your relationship with the person you're having sex with, then these tips and tools will work well for you. If you actually don't have very good communication, or you don't talk about anything at all, start with that. Communication truly is key. Without communication, your partner might just, you start bringing out the sex toys and the gimp suit, your partner might feel a little confused, right? So before you bring out the gimp suit randomly, you might want to have a little conversation. Just a little communication can help. So communication for all of this is truly key. You don't have to be eloquent with your communication, because trust me, I'm not. I just talk a lot. It's not that I'm eloquent. I just ramble. So that's why I have a show. It saves my relationship, so my husband for 1 hour doesn't have to listen to me rambling. You guys get to. And yay, how awesome is that? So, I'm being told that it's an interesting point of view that I ramble. Well, it is my interesting point of view, and we'll go with that. So remember, too, that in a relationship, wherever you give praise or wherever you give attention, so if you're not giving praise, you might be giving scoldings, whether it's minor or major scoldings. Wherever you put your energy, that will expand and grow. So if you are willing to put your energy onto something and say, hey, thank you so much, that was awesome, chances are you'll get more of it. If you just have sex with somebody and you start complaining that you don't have enough sex, like 35 seconds afterwards, chances are they're going to pull back and you're going to get less and less and less sex. So there are times to talk about what you would like in a relationship, but I know for sure that the more you acknowledge what you are being given, the more you will get of it. So, if there's things that you're not really liking, you don't need to, you can acknowledge it before you go, wow, that doesn't work for me. And you can redirect, right? So sex can be one of those places where things get pretty sensitive and people can get pretty sensitive, and there can be a lot of hurt feelings and stuff, and that doesn't have to go that way. There's so many other ways to approach things without hurting feelings or even masking your feelings. So there are definitely things that I highly recommend, that if you like something, if your partner touches you in a way that you enjoy, let them know. Whether it's being vocal and saying, hey, that was spanktacular, and I often thank my lover afterwards, just like, thanks, that was great. And, or even when I get to gift a blowjob, I'm like, thanks for letting me do that. Then, it does allow more of that to show up. And then there are times where you might forget to say the thank yous or the wow, that was great. And maybe the sex tames down for a while and you just don't get as much action as you were hoping to have. So it's pretty fun, though, when you are acknowledging, it's like, wow, I like that touch. That's really fun. Because if you already have communication that way, you can do so much more with, say, adding different things, because your partner will be used to you communicating. If this is brand new, this is why I'm saying, if communication is brand new in general for you, add the communication first and work your way up. So if it is like the first time you've ever thanked your partner for sex, start there and just like, thanks so much. That was fantastic sex. Thanks for like that thing you did there where you got the, stroke to the left, and you just stroked that up and like, that was awesome. You're so skilled. Whatever works for you language wise between you and your partner. You don't have to say my words, because my husband laughs at my words all the time, and our communication usually results in a lot of laughter. I just this afternoon kind of tried to hump him in the middle of my kitchen, which was both cute, and he laughed at me and he was like, "You're so cute." And I'm like, "Thanks. I just tried humping you," but we both had clothes on, and yeah. It was mostly because there was a chair there, and I stuck my leg up on the chair, and it was a bit like a humping puppy. I guess that was part of just trying to give you guys the full image here. That's pretty fun, right? So that can definitely lead, in my senses, that's going to lead to some fun action. So I personally got some praise, which goes really far for me. And just saying, a little praise goes a long way. I know that about me. And what I know about a lot of people is when they're given praise, they get chuffed, they're happy, they're walking around like a proud pigeon, and they're like, yay, I feel so good about myself, because everybody wants to be a proud pigeon, right? And strutting your stuff. Actually, I once had a boyfriend we called Strutter, because he always my brother and I called him Strutter because he was constantly strutting. Anytime I would compliment him, he would strut around like a pigeon, actually. He was Strutter. And I don't know if he knew he was called Strutter. I think he did. It was a long time ago. It was like 20 years ago. So I don't remember the full-on details of did Strutter know he was a Strutter, but he probably did. And so I highly encourage keeping things playful, because making sex into something that's daunting and like serious, or your issues with sex become serious, that is one of the greatest ways to create erectile dysfunction, making sex serious, or having conversations about sex during sex. That can also be a really fabulous way of creating erectile dysfunction. Well, dysfunction would be something long-term, but limp penis syndrome, that would be something that comes out of conversations that are basically telling your partner that what they're doing is not good enough. You're just not good enough for me. And if you really feel that way, maybe it's time to move on, and that's okay. And if through communication you are able to kind of move through some of that stuff, how much fun can you have with all the other neat things you can add to your life? Because when sex becomes playful, the dauntingness, the seriousness, that, oh my God, I have to have an orgasm. If I don't have an orgasm, that was a waste of time, or if it's like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Those can be fun, those quickies, but there's also a lot to say about enjoying and being playful. It's funny, we watch kids all the time. Kids love being playful. It's how they de-stress. Yet we as adults, we make sex incredibly serious, and so sex can't even be a de-stress mechanism that we could use, or a tool that we can use. And sex can totally be a de-stress tool if we let it be playful and, explore your bodies. So start with that. If you don't have that, start with that, because that's really something where when you know your hot spots and you know your partner's hot spots, and you can follow through on those hot spots, whether you've already done it with touch, then if you already know what they like, you can add so much more to it. If you don't know what they like and you start throwing vibrators at them and start throwing the gimp suits on, you might have missed the mark completely. So find out what your partner likes before you start throwing sex toys at them. And the image I have in my head is just hilarious. It's like, vibrators flying across the room, dildos landing accidentally in people's eyes, getting a black eye from a giant dildo landing in your eyeball. Those are dangerous things. So don't just throw the sex toys around, my friends. Like, just have a little conversation first, then bring in the sex toys. And how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to give you those tips and tools when we come back from this commercial break.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution, taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight we're talking about adding some toys to our sex play. Yay! How fun is that? So, just before we went to commercial, I did mention that, communication's rather key, and that is a really great way to even begin to consider adding sex toys to your sex play. So, number one, after you've had the conversations and you know the hot spots, these are all good things to know. And you might discover some new ones when you add some other things to it, because the new spots might just show up when you have, different toys being added, different things being added. They all create different sensations. It's such a fun way to explore and find out what these amazing bodies that we've got to have in this lifetime, what these amazing bodies can offer us. So let's just keep it really simple. So number one, before adding anything too exciting like a double-ended dildo, because I know most of you, that's the first place you go. You're like, well, I'm going to go out there and get that double-ended dildo. Well, sometimes those double-ended dildos can be like pretty shocking to people if they've never even tried some really simple things. So for now, if you have the double-ended dildo, just put it away. We'll get to that, but let's segue into some stuff like that and see how we can get into those. And the GIMP suits, those are something that if you are new, like if you are really new to sex toys, jumping from no sex toys to GIMP suit can be kind of alarming. So we're going to build this up kind of step by step, as we do have 10 tips and tools that you can actually use this. I did it in a progression way so that it is a thing that you can kind of step by step add these to your life. You can try and pull it off all in one night, and I'd love to see how that goes. Or just, over time, adding these things to your life. So let's start small. So there are a few small ways of sneaking the idea of sex toys into your playtime. One of the things that I think is kind of fun is bringing in warming lotions, and there are ones that are that have tastes to them. And I actually work with and for a company called Pure Romance, and so there are products available in North America that are called Sensations from Pure Romance, and I'll have links in that article that I'm writing so you can check it out. So Sensations, and there's a lot of flavors you can choose from, and they're basically like when you rub them and you blow on them, they warm, and they're not overly hot. They're not going to burn you. They're just like a warming sensation, and they have a nice taste to them. So, utilizing those, whether it's putting them on nipples, putting them on, for men, on penises. For women, I don't recommend putting them on your vulva right away, because you might have sensitivity or reaction to that, and quite a few women have more sensitivity to sense and taste and flavors in around their vulva area than they imagine. Between the labia and then just sometimes things sneaking their way into the vaginal opening can be a bit alarming, especially if it's hot and especially if it has flavors. And just to keep it on the safe side, we will keep the flavored things on the penises and enjoy those. So rub those in, blow on them, and suck them up, because what a fun, fabulous way to add more of a playful element to it. So it's something that you're already doing maybe. And also for women, for example, or men who as much as you might enjoy oral sex, you might not enjoy the taste or the smell of your partner or something. So, you can add these flavored things like Sensations to just add a new flavor. And you might even like their flavor, and you can add these flavorful things just for fun to ramp it up. Adding a little added value to your experience can always be fun. So, some of the other fun things you can do is there are also balms out there for your nipples and for your lips. Again, I'm referring to a lot of Pure Romance products because I'm aware of them. I work for that company, so I know that these things are out there, and I know what the products are like. So, but by all means, this is not the end-all, be-all. This is just the ones I'm aware of. So ones like Bosom Buddy, there's a bunch of different flavors, and they tingle, and you can put them on your lips, and then, when you kiss your partner, they get the tingling sensation on their lips. You can put them on your nipples, and they tingle. It's fun and playful tingling. It's not like a burning again. So really fun. And what's kind of fun and funny about them is that, because they're so they're pretty much like a chapstick in so many ways, that just like a really big chapstick that, even like, for example, I had one out one day and my daughter saw it and she tested and she was like, wow, this feels great. She put it on her lips and I was like, oh, you're so funny. But it was actually one of my testers that I use, and usually people just use a little something and test those out. And a lot of people do test it on their lips, but I've seen people at parties test it on their nipples too, those brave souls. It's pretty funny. So a pretty fun, easy peasy way to just add a little something. Can stay by your bedside table. It's easy to grab. Any of those things like the flavors, sensations, things, they can just be there available, ready at hand. So, and also for some people, it's surprising but true that lube in and of itself is a brand new thing. So, for example, a lot of people just, they go with their own body lube, which is fantastic if you're highly lubricated. And lots of guys go with spit. That's kind of a common factor for lubrication. But for fun, you can definitely add something like the Just Like Me by Pure Romance. But there's also other ones that are made out of so-called natural products like hemp lotions and all kinds of things. So depending on what your body likes, what your body can handle, the Just Like Me really is just like your own your own lubricant. So it's nice and it lasts. And so that can be completely a new experience, just even adding lube to, say, like manual stimulation. Like if you feel like, given a hand job, instead of just going for it dry, and I talked about this on one of the shows about penis health, like you want to look after that skin, and it's pretty sensitive and it can tear, and you don't want to get infections in there, because there's some nasty things that can happen to penises with infections. Penile gangrene, just saying, that's all you need to hear. And for keeping it nice and soft and lubricated and also more fun, I mean, there's the slip and slide factor going on when you got some lubricant. You can just add some Just Like Me to literally just for masturbation. It can be so much fun. So that, I think, those are really, really simple, like, hi, look what I brought home. And just put it on your body if you like, and woo, check this out. So number 2, now you got some lotions and potions in your bedroom, you might want to look at adding some massage toys. Pretty much, there's a lot of people in the world who like massage and some who don't. I like very light massage, and I really like gentle touch. But a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about are things that you can do with gentle touch, or you can go deep massage, so they can go either way. But it's really what it is about doing something else with the hands and adding ways to create new sensations. So, different massage toys can be fun. You can get reusable heater packs that kind of crack open, like you just like snap this little thing in them and they heat up. And then you can also use things like massage gloves that tend to be textured. They usually have a couple different textures on massage gloves, or soy candles. The one, I'll have links to all of this stuff. The soy candle that I particularly like has a very, very light scent, and when you burn it, the oil is just nice. It doesn't burn you. It's just warm, and it's like an oil consistency, the soy candle, when it burns. And so when you put it on, it's like a warm oil. And whether, you're just having like a sensual night of fun, or whether you are like prepping for some, prepping those bodies and getting them ready for a workout of a nighttime, you can definitely add the warm soy candle heat, because your muscles will just relax and your body will just start to feel really in the receiving mode. Really, that's what we're talking about, is like getting the body to receive more and more and more. And I just love the texture of that soy candle. It's so lovely. And it's got like a little pour spout, and you can write little love notes on it too. So that's kind of a fun way too. You can write a little love note on it, or you can write a little suggestion about what you might like to do on it as well. And so what else you can do is, use all of those as massage things. You can even just have them there as a little suggestion. So not all of these things have to just be brought out and used immediately. You can just kind of leave them by the bedside and see if they get mentioned. Hey, what is that glove? Can I try that? Oh, yeah, sure. Let's try that out. So another one that I like is like sexy games, So there are lots of places. You can get like sexy dice, and you can get sexy card games, and you can get all kinds of adult play games. You can get them for single, like couples, like single couples, like one couple, or you can get them for groups. They can basically turn into like a mega orgy if you want. But there are so many varieties, and the thing that can be really fun is to make your own too. So how would you make your own sexy dice? Well, one of the things you can get at like your local craft shop are these wooden blocks that you could write anything you want on them. Can be a lot of fun. You can buy them, again, like I do sell them as well, but you can make your own, which, you can make it so that they're kind of fixed, right? It could be like gimp suit, gimp suit, gimp suit, gimp suit, gimp suit on 6 sides of one. And then, on the other dice, it could be you, 6 U's on that other one. So, you're guaranteed to get what you want from that. That's kind of the fun of having sexy dice that you make yourself, because you can just fix those to get exactly what you want, which can be funny too, right? That can be funny. But I just had a fabulous idea as I was saying that. So if you do get some dice at, say, the craft shop, you could paint them with chalkboard paint, so that and if you get larger dice, they're more like kid playing blocks. If you get the larger dice and you paint them with like a paint, like now I'm giving you guys ideas. I'm going to make some of these and maybe do a YouTube video. So blocks, and then paint them with chalkboard paint, and then you can write whatever you want on them and erase it. And that sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe I'm going to do a DIY sex toy video for that. As I talked about that before, but then I just didn't have any ideas for that yet. So that could be fun. Maybe this week. Maybe this week I will know. Let's face it, it'll probably be next week. But still, it's fun to think I could pull this off in a week. I got to find the dice first, guys. Got to find the dice, know where to get the paint, got lots of ideas, and I'm totally going to make this work for me. It's going to be like gimsuit, 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 you. No, it's not actually what I want, but I think it's hilarious to put gimsuit all over one of the dice just for the laughs and play of it. So you can, bring out the dice, bring out the cards. And again, you can make your own or you can buy them, but you can, stack the cards in your favor for things that you'd actually like. And it's a great way to communicate when you might feel shy about communicating things that are, say, bigger than adding lubes to your life. If you're feeling shy about adding actual sex toys to your life, or even kinkier things to your life, these dice and these card games can be a great way to introduce that, so that you are like, well, it's just a game, let's try it, yay, compared to like, oh my god, we're trying this is so serious, this is your big ask, I hope I can succeed in your blah, blah, blah. And then you get all this shit in your head. So before you do that, have fun. Remember, have fun and communicate. Hey, would you like to play a game tonight? I got these sexy dice. I made them, or I bought them, and ooh, let's see what we can do with that. Wouldn't it be hilarious? Ooh, look, it says let's do it in the car. Okay, let's go, because it's a game. So as long as you have a playful partner who's willing to play along, you can have an awful lot of fun with that. Awful lot of fun. So I have so many more tips and tools, guys. I have like another 7 to share with you, and I'm already halfway through the show. So I know that I'm going to speed up some of my other tips and tools. Some of them are pretty shortcut. They're pretty, bam, there's your tip. So I will be sharing those more with you, and I really look forward to having you guys stay on with me and listen to the rest of these tips and tools. And we're going to be heading to break in just a few seconds. So please stick around for the rest of the tips and tools here on the Pleasure Zone.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions, or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you. beingyouclass.com.
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and my sweet pleasure seekers, I have a question in the chat room about what can a woman do if she's shy? Well, what can a woman do? Because, a lot of times you probably think that you're shy, but the chances are you're probably not. So if you are you willing to have sex with the lights on? I would start there. Are you? And if you are, and you're like, whoa, I actually know a lot of people who won't. They just won't have sex with the lights on. And I actually knew a woman who for many years had basically sex with a T-shirt on. Her husband never saw her breasts for, I don't know, 20-something years. She's since passed on. She was well into her 60s when I met her, and she actually died of breast cancer, but her partner never touched nor saw her breasts. And whether that was shy or whether that was something else, I think it's really whether you are shy, you might want to ask, what is that? What am I shy about? And if you have self-esteem issues where you don't think you're pretty enough, sexy enough, or any of that, my tip for you is that's bullshit. You are, and everybody knows it, and you know it too, because the chances are if you have ever had anybody approach you at all to hit on you, even if it seemed like it was weird and strange, or they sent you, dick pics on Facebook, there's something about you that they found attractive in some very funny way. So own it, girlfriend, because you are way sexier than you give yourself credit for. I have yet to meet somebody on the planet that I think doesn't have sex appeal. We all have it. We're all born with sexual energy. We all have sex appeal. It's whether, you're having sex with everyone in the world. Now, there's 7.9 billion people on the planet. That is a lot of people to have sex with. So there's definitely somebody out there that will find you attractive. So it's a matter of self-esteem. That's just not going to cut it, girlfriend, because you have something that you can share and be with the world. And if you're shy because you don't think you have skills, this is a great time to play. And sometimes playing naive can be as fun as actually being naive. And sometimes when you just pretend like you're naive, you might find out that you actually have way more skill than you thought you had. It's a funny question for me because I've never really been shy about this topic. There were times where I avoided it because I was trying to attain God's kingdom or something, but I have not been shy about talking about it so much. So it's something that is not so familiar to me, although I have watched people go through it, and I'm always wonder, how do you not know that you're awesome? How do you not know that you have some skills there? And you can be with partners for a long time that can put you down, so you start to believe that you're crap, which I had that. I started to believe I was the worst lover on the planet until I met my husband. And so it's a matter of being with somebody that you feel confident in communicating with. And you can say to them, I feel shy, or you can play the shy game when you're actually not. Because the chances are if you have already had sex and, somebody's seen you naked in any way, whether it's live or a photograph, or whether you even took a picture of your face and put it somewhere on social media, you're actually not shy. If you are somebody who's hiding in a cave and you are not getting social in any way. If you're even willing to go out and go to the grocery store and have people look at you, you're actually not shy. So start to acknowledge where you are willing to be seen and where you're not shy, because the chances are you're just full of poop. And somewhere along the way, some grown up said, "She's just shy." When you were like 4, "Oh, don't mind, she's shy with strangers." No, you weren't. You were trying to figure out if they were worthy to be alive or whether you wanted to kill them. That's probably really what was going on. You weren't shy. You were just trying to figure it out. So if you're actually willing to even go to the grocery store and have people look at you, girlfriend, you're not shy. Acknowledge your awesomeness and acknowledge that the more you do that, the more you'll start to realize how you actually do like to be seen. And there might be some things that you just haven't been willing to ask for yet. So that communication part is so key for you to be willing to actually open up to bringing these sex toys into your life. And you can literally just leave them around just for fun. Just leave them on the side table. Just, they can just be on, just giant dildo in the middle. If you don't have children running around your house, just giant dildo in the middle of the dining room. There it is. Check it out. It's my new sculpture. And it can be funny. You just leave it around. Just leave it around for funny and laugh at yourself. Leave it around for yourself, and then when your partner's around, just see how they react. But see how you react with that stuff around too, out in the open, not hidden in your tickle trunk, and just see what it's like to have that out in the open and move from there. And then you can actually bring it out in the open in front of your partner. So I hope that gives you some ideas and some tips and tools for that. So number 4 on how to bring out some actual toys after we've brought out some of the sort of getting ready for toys and the dice and the lotions and the massage, and then how do we bring in the real toys, right? So step number 4, and we will get through all of these, I swear it, is to bring out the boy toys. What if you have a male partner, that is. So if you're male on male, if you're female on male, I would say bring out the boy toys, because a lot of times if you bring out the boy toys first, it's about his pleasure. It's about what can you do to add to his pleasure. And then when you start to look at, hey, this would be really fun for me too. I know, like, I'm watching you, you're enjoying yourself. How did you like that? Was it fun? Cool. And then you can start to add some more toys. So I will have links to some ideas for you. One of my the coolest ones that I've seen is called Hand Jive, also from Pure Romance. It's double textured and it's made out of this really cool gel-like material, and it's two holes, so it's double-ended in a way, and you can put one end and just hold it at the base of the penis and put the top of the sleeve over the penis. It's really stretchy, and you can pull it, and it gives a suction effect. So from the rumors of the men that I know that have these, they are like ecstatic about it and think it's the best thing since having actual sex, because that's what they told me. So pretty fun. And so number 5, now's the time for you to bring in some play toys of your own. And so if you are 2 girls on girls, if you want to, you can start to share some toys. So, for example, this is what I came up with 2 girls. This is when you bring in the double-headed dildo, my friends. So, girls, this is your time. This is your double dildo time. And if you are with in a different sex relationship, male, female, or that kind of variation, then you can bring in something like a cock ring and a vibrator with a vibrator attachment. So you get your pleasure, he gets his pleasure. It's and those usually have multiple speeds, and you can control the speeds, and it's something that you can both share, because oftentimes the way that it sits on the penis, the cock ring will actually have usually a bullet in it, like a bullet vibrator that will have full, contact with your clitoris. So that's something to play with. Or if you reverse it, would have contact with your anus. Either way, an interesting sensation to play with. And so once you've brought that out, which can be a lot of fun, you can start to bring in some other toys to show your partner what you like. So I would say bring out your favorite toy and use it on yourself. Get brave. Just go for it. You know, if you really need to practice this first, do it in front of a mirror so you have the sensation of somebody watching you, which is you watching you. But bring out your favorite toy. And if you don't know what your favorite toy is, there are so many ways to figure out what toy works for you, and I actually do consult on that. So if that's something that you would like to know, I do offer 15-minute free consultations to find out what vibrator would work best for you, because there are so many different kinds that do different things, and you really want to get one that works for you and what your body likes. So if you don't know your favorite toy, you can find out your favorite toy. I will also put a link to my email that you can contact me if you'd like to book a 15-minute session to find out what vibrator would work for you. Or if it's not a vibrator, it might be a dildo as well. So vibrators might not work for you, and we can talk about that. So once you've used it, you got familiar with it, and you're kind of agile with it, and you can do stuff with it, and you practice in front of the mirror, now's a really good time to start to play with it with your partner. So you can definitely, just like what you were doing in front of your partner, you can just about, as you're about to have the big O, you can pass that vibrator and just let your partner know in advance. So he's like, or she's like prepped to grab the vibrator. Let them know and just pass it over. Just let them know in advance, I'm going to pass it over to you. And they'll know, and they can utilize that on you. So, they can feel pretty chuffed about their being able to gift you the big O, which is pretty sweet. And it's a pretty sweet sensation for the person receiving it, and it's a pretty sweet sensation for the person gifting it. And there's definitely a confidence boost that goes on for the partner gifting it. And then there's, for the person receiving it, it can be such a giant sigh of relief that, you can be willing to receive, because sometimes it takes some toys to come in to play for you to actually have the big O. It's not that unusual, truly, because so many bodies are just not shaped with a clitoris right beside the vaginal opening. That's just not it's not a very common anatomical situation. So it's just be willing to bring in some other stuff to have more fun with that. So, wow, I have about 7 minutes left. I'm not even sure if we're going to have time for break. This is getting a little cuckoo. So I'm going to just keep going, actually. We might have to skip this break just because I'm going a little crazy with my ideas. So you're going to bring out your favorite toy, then you're going to bring out the toy in front of your partner. And it's going to be one of those, so you bring it out in front of your partner and be willing to pass it over, like passing the baton. You're running a relay race. So be willing to pass over the baton so that your partner can have fun with you too. And this is really where that fun begins, because once your partner has that confidence that they can give you the big O while they're using toys, the chances of bringing those toys back is going to be pretty high. And also, not just with the confidence, remember to give the feedback. Give feedback all the time. Yeah, that's great. That works for me. Thanks. Oh, I love that. That's so awesome. Keep doing it. That's great. Give feedback. If your partner, doesn't really like verbal feedback, give them moaning and groaning. Give them the awareness, like give them something. The grab on the ass, the whisper of love, the moaning, whatever it is, the screaming, the speaking Japanese out of nowhere, whatever works for you that turns you on, bring those in, and that way your partner actually knows what's happening. I personally have not channeled Japanese in the middle of sex, but I'm just going with anything is possible. And at some point, it may be like in the middle of having the big O and I start screaming in another language. Could be very, very fun, especially a language I'm not fluent in. I know that I'm definitely channeling stuff then. So now here's a time to bring in some other fun and crazy, interesting things. So usually what we do is we don't go from zero to hero. We usually, like, this build up is something that I kind of was like playing with today, wondering like how do you actually introduce this in a way that isn't going to be overwhelming, shocking, and scary. So now's a great time to bring in other things. Some of the more naughty toys, some of the let's get into 50 Shades of Grey toys. Now's a great time to start bringing things like the blindfolds, the nipple clamps, the crops, the whips, the what are they called? The wrist cuffs, all these things that are a little bondage related. They don't have to be hardcore bondage, because if you are into hardcore bondage, you've already done 99% of this, and you've done a lot more. This is really for how do you introduce it when this is something new in your relationship. So bringing in those things, and the nipple clamps can just be really sexy to wear, and they're just beautiful items. I sell some that are just absolutely gorgeous jewelry-like items, and crops and whips. And you want to get ones that are relatively soft, but they have enough play to them that when you do receive like a spanking from it, you can actually feel it. Like, you don't want it to be dull. And the fun thing with those too is if you're not into being spanked with them, you can rub them up and down a body. I have ones that have is a whip with multiple sort of strings on it, and it's really lovely to just even rub up and down your body. Even if you're rubbing it up and down your own body, it's a really nice sensation. It's like a tickle, and the materials are totally durable and washable. So you also want sex toys that are washable. You can get some like super hardcore leather ones, but they're, let's face it, not very washable. So you want things that you can wash, that you can make sure they're hygienic, make sure that you can look after them, and the durability totally is key. So if you if you're into it at that point, the constraints can get even more so. You can get more into the constraints, which are things where you can constrain your partner to the bed, whether you're tying their hands to like a headboard or their feet to the whatever it is that you want to constrain your partner with, or tying their hands together or their feet together, doing like the rope a cow kind of style, whatever works for you guys. Really, you might find that as you start adding some kinky fun things to your life, that your mind starts to explore and starts to get curious and starts to like desire playing with more things that you haven't tried before, that you actually thought were like maybe too out there, or too weird, and you're like, I'd never want to try that. But as you start to ease into it, it's that exploration, right? It's like if you head into a dark forest, you're like, ooh, this is a dark forest. But as you start exploring, you start to see things like, ooh, pretty flowers. Oh, there's this or there's, and the next thing you know, you don't have the fear of that dark forest anymore. It's actually become intriguing, and you want to go deeper and farther and check out more. So I highly encourage you to get on track to start to be the explorers, be the sexual explorers you truly are, and to start to add things and get creative. And like I was saying, like, you can make your own dice, right? Like, you can get creative with these things. You can, use, for example, like silky ties if you don't want to go out and buy something, but you can bring out the silky ties to create blindfolds, to create things as constraints. And there's some beautiful ropes out there that you can get that are specifically created for bondage, and they're very soft. So, as you start to add in different things, you're going to probably notice that it evolves into something way more kinkier than you ever thought was possible. And how much fun can you have with that? So I just thought I would mention this as the very last thing. If you're going to do anything, this is now the time. This is now the time, my friends, to bring out the things like the strap-ons and the anal toys. The butt plugs. Yeah, because why did I choose this? Well, I chose this as a more natural progression, yes, and I did put anal toys last, because if someone's already being introduced to toys, they might have a lot of kinky experience. If they haven't been introduced. And if they've just been introduced, they're kind of getting into it. So ease them in. And it's not Not everyone will be okay with the anal play, so I left it last, as well as not everyone will be okay with blindfolds and nipple clamps. So they're kind of on the bottom end of things, but they can get kinkier and kinkier. But also, just because it's funny to me that you can actually, put on a blindfold sometimes and be okay with that, that going to an anal plug after that is like no sweat. I can do that. So if you're looking for all these tips and tools, please go to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com if you aren't listening to the show from that station, because we are over 50 different platforms. And check out the article I will have in there on the tips and tools for adding sex toys to your life. Have a great week.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.